Alpha 10 and Bravo 30, this is Zeno. Long message. Call sign Charlie 12 reports the enemy tank column is moving southeast. Alpha 10, acknowledge what's so far, over. Alpha 10, roger, over.
Hey fellow stormtroopers, this is Adam, TK24336. This is a follow-up video to the one I made earlier with an older throat mic. What we're going to cover today is a newer version of it, and it's a mic-only setup, as well as the commonly used headset over-the-ear ones that come with the Aker amps. I'm going to try both headsets into 3 different amps, and with it I'm going to have a decibel meter at the same distance from where I'm wearing it, and that way you'll have maybe something a little more tangible to measure volume and things like that. Okay, so with that being said, let's get started. Okay everyone, I have the IX radio throat mic on right now. You can see there's a Velcro strap right here, and it's used to ensure that these 2 transponders are up against your neck. Now what I'm finding is that if you move it around, it does change the pickup point, because everyone's physiology is a little bit different. So with that said, I have this one on. I'm going to put on the Aker headset, and we're going to go ahead and test side by side with those 3 different amps. Okay, so as you can see, I have the Aker headset on. This is an acoustic unidirectional microphone. It's really critical on these, in case you don't know, is that there is a white line on the inside of the microphone. You have to make sure that's facing your lips. You want to keep it about 1/2 inch or so from your lips. But the first one we're going to try, of course, the Aker 1506. One of the most common personal amplifiers used in costuming due to its size and relative cost is relatively inexpensive. So the first thing I'm going to do is plug in the Aker headset. These 2 are of course a matched set. So with that being on, right here, using the Aker headset, it's probably one of the clearest sounding setups that anyone could use in costuming. It's my first amp that I had, and no regrets. It just sounds great. My challenge, of course, is fitting a headset within my helmet, so I started looking for other options. But let's go ahead and try it with the throat mic. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the throat mic one connected. One thing you can see there, it has a 90-degree connector, which is nice because sometimes it's tight spaces under the armor, and not having something stick out or snagging anything is actually kind of handy. So that's a pretty nice feature there. So I'm going to go ahead and switch it on. Okay, so this is the throat mic. I'm at 100% volume versus when I was with the Aker headset, I was just under 50%. I don't think it's as loud as the Aker headset and Aker amp, but it is fairly clear. You can understand what I'm saying, albeit it's a little bit muffled. But one thing that I do appreciate about having a throat mic is I don't have anything running up into the helmet, and I don't get feedback. I'm aiming the amp at my neck here. It's because it's not picking up audio sounds through air movement, rather neck skin vibration. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and switch to another amp, and we'll compare how it sounds. Okay, this time we're going to try this amp here. It's kind of some no-name brand that I found off of eBay. Reason I chose this is, one, I don't know if you can see it there, there's a micro SD slot there, because this amp here will play MP3s. So it'll play audio files, so you could have TK chatter or Death Star background noises, things like that while you're wired up. So compared though, this one to the Aker, they're about the same footprint from this profile. But when you switch it sideways, you can see how this one is quite a bit bigger than the Aker. It's slightly heavier. The speaker is about the same size. So of course when you're wearing it under a chest piece, and because of how far it sticks out, it may be a little bit of a challenge for your costume. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and plug in the Aker headset first. So you see it there. go ahead and turn this on. Okay, so right now I'm about halfway on this one. It sounds very clear, very comparable to the Aker. You can find this at quite a bit less cost than the Aker. I'm not saying it's a better amp, but I'm just saying that it's less expensive. And it sounds great. So if you can fit something like this under your armor, it's probably a good alternative. So with that said, I mean, there are some compromises, and we'll get into that in the next video. But with this headset, this setup, it sounds great. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch to the throat mic, and you can judge for yourself. So with the throat mic here, you can tell it's got the right angle plug. So plugged in there. Turn on the amp. Okay. So here we go again. I'm at 100% volume. You can tell the audio quality again that it's a little bit more muffled compared to the Aker headset. But it works fine. Again, the benefits are not having wires running up into the helmet and things like that. Good feedback control, you know, aiming it this way. I've tried it with this amp in the past with my previous throat mic with some success, but with this setup I wouldn't hesitate to use it. So the last amp we're going to do is the one supplied by the manufacturer at the throat mic here, IX Radio. So one moment. Okay, now this one here is an amp supplied by the manufacturer of this headset, IX Radio. It's sold as a set. You can buy the throat mic separately, but you can also buy these two together. But comparing it with the Aker, this is quite a bit more in terms of size. However, you can see there's a huge difference in speaker size. So with that, this will sound a lot louder. Let's go ahead and compare it a little bit more here. There is a little bit taller, and of course it's heavier. Now this one also features, you can see it there, a micro SD slot as well as a USB slot. There's controls right up there for fast forward, rewind, skip, that type of thing, microphone and auxiliary input. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and start with the Aker headset. So that's plugged in there. And right here I'm only about a third way on the volume, and it's quite a bit loud, but there's some distortion to it because I'm getting some chassis vibration casing. Now if I put my hand on the back of it so the case doesn't vibrate, it sounds like this, which is great. Now if I go up to about halfway volume, keeping my fingers pressed on the back here, it sounds really loud. I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to use something like this in a con where there's usually so much noise going on inside. This would amplify just wonderfully. So right now, just so you know, I'm at 75% on the volume. I don't know if you can see it there. Maybe I should put that one. Okay. So this thing is really, really loud. Anyway, let's go ahead and switch it to the throat mic and see what you think. This is right angle plug, so you know it's the throat mic. Plugged in there. And same thing, let's do the same thing. Right now it's at 30%, and it's not as loud as the Aker headset. But it sounds pretty good. And I'll go ahead and turn it up to halfway. So here we are at the halfway point. And the volume is quite a bit louder. It's not as clear as an acoustic headset, but it's great for, you know, if that suits your purposes. So I'm going to go up a little higher. Okay, so we're at 75% max volume, similar to what I did with the Aker. At this point, I would say total volume is probably not as loud as the Aker, but it's definitely usable. So I'm going to try one more thing with the throat mic. I'm at 100% volume. Now, of course, it's starting to sound a little hollow to me, but 100% is pretty loud. I think this one is rated at about 20 watts. So it's quite a bit loud, but I think I can get some feedback at this kind of volume level. Yeah, so even with the mic, if the volume is high enough, it'll get feedback. So let's go ahead and crank this back down. But anyway, so
this is what the throat mic sounds like with this amp, which is part of a matching set through IX Radio. If you have any further questions, just go ahead and send some to me in the comments below. I'm going to follow up with another video testing these 3 amps with the ICOM and these headsets. So stay tuned for that one. And again, thank you and have fun trooping.